These books, ideally, is K through third grade. It's actually been approved as supplemental curriculum through the LAUSD, Los Angeles Unified School
Well,
District. Yeah, for K through third grade, right? So 5 years old to 8 years old, but as early as 3 years old, kids can interact with the book because if you see, um, how can I show you? Let me do this. So like on the back end of the book, something that you don't see there is that, let me try to show you there. There's there's actual there's like a color me page. There's
mm,
curriculum right in the back, little like hangman activities. There's games and exercises. There's recipes, right?
yes,
It just, the whole family is really coming together on
yeah.
this book series, and every book is different and all set up the same way.
Keto Chow is a customizable shake mix that is also perfect for cooking and baking, giving you simple, nutritionally perfect meal options. Keto Chow. Make keto easy. Discover your favorite flavor at jimmylovesketochow.com.
So it's interactive, is what I'm seeing there. Uh,
Absolutely, that's the only way, is to engage, because like I said, it's not the kids, it's the parents.
and look what you're fighting. You're
Yeah,
fighting iPads. You're fighting video games. You're
yeah,
fighting Netflix. You're fighting a lot of things trying to get their attention.
yeah.
Why do you think the way you've outlined it, which by the way, what you just showed, brilliant, beautiful, good job. Like as a marketing guy, I admire people that you can see took thought and forethought into what they're doing and you have purpose in mind with all of that. So good job.
Thank
Why
you.
do you think it resonates so much in the age of the iPad?
Children innately like books. We're hardwired for this. We have a genetic information for millennia with something tangible like this new age stuff. Is We're the first generation that's really interacting with this, and these kids today are the first generation that are growing up with these phones in their faces. So this is something totally new. Books, like, remember when Amazon came out and they were like, oh, books are, paperback books is gone. The data never showed that. The data always showed there was a little ebook spike, and then it went right back to the, paperback book, because kids love things that they can touch and feel and rip up. And, you know,
Well, and you put a toddler down on the ground and give them a book, they'll just sit there and just turn the pages and start chewing on the corner. They'll
yeah,
do it,
exactly.
and it's not easy with a $800 iPad. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's the people who are developing the software for the like even this app, the Instagram and all the other social media apps. They understand that there's an addictive quality, that these
yeah,
a destructive quality that these social media apps have. Like, they're corrupt by nature. Like, I'm always like, look, I follow a lot of I follow random people. I love hip hop and all of this stuff, but
yeah.
there's a lot of sexuality on my feed. And so I'm like, day by day, I'm always like muting different, because you never know if like I'm scrolling and my son is around. I don't want his eyes to, like, surprise. So
Don't need
it
you don't need a Cardi B song coming on right as your son's walking by.
right. And I mean, like, so even just yesterday, I got into an argument with my wife, because like there's she thinks I'm like looking at something. I'm like, look, this is a spiritual page that I'm following. One of my boys who has a spiritual page, but there's Cardi B on there because she's part of the culture now. So every, you know, it's just everywhere. But there's no responsibility. There's no really accountability. And even Cardi B, for example, there's a video that I saw of her. She was about to start twerking or something like that, and then she saw her daughter in the background, and she immediately stopped the music. And I thought that was so powerful. Like, wow, she even understands that her daughter shouldn't be shown certain messages, but she's putting this out for millions and billions now of children
Yeah.
to, watch her twerk and sexualize them at an early age. So, there's a level of, like, accountability and irresponsibility that we're at. And hopefully, like, the more we can talk about the importance of children and health, then we'll value more what we're doing.
Well, and health goes beyond physical. I think when people hear health, they think weight, they think disease, but they don't think about mental
Yeah,
health. Last year and a half has been trying on a lot of kids'
yeah,
mental health.
absolutely.
They don't think about spiritual health and kind of health of kind of their being. There's so many aspects to health, and especially of kids, that quite frankly you and I didn't get when we were kids. We were dealt a bad card when we were in our developmental years, and somehow, some way, we figured it out along the way as adults. But why not start those kids on that holistic health journey as early as possible, which again is why your work is so important.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, it, most doctors, right? Like, if I take book 2 out of the series, superfoods are super fun. If I put a doctor on the spot and say, "Give me 3 superfoods right now. List them out." They'll be stuck. They'll be kale, broccoli, spinach, right? It's like they don't have this knowledge offhand.
No. Well,
This should be common knowledge.
here's the dirty secret, Dr. Pooch. Doctors don't get training in nutrition, and
Yeah,
yet
they get like
everybody,
30 minutes.
they know
Yeah.
exactly what they should be eating because, oh, they're doctors, they know everything about health. But they get, if they're lucky, I have interviewed thousands of people over the years of doing this show, and most of them doctors or some kind of medical training. All of them, I ask, how much education did you get? I got from as short as 1 3-hour seminar. That was all he got in his whole 4-year career as a doctor in training. And as long as 2 weeks. Now, that doesn't count naturopaths. That doesn't count other people in holistic health.
Right.
In allopathic medicine, 2 weeks was the longest I ever heard. And that's because even in 2 weeks, how much do you really learn? And then do you learn about metabolic pathways that food is impacting, things like insulin and inflammation and all the things that I've talked till I'm blue in the face and you talk about as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's criminal. It's criminal what's happening. Our systems have been hijacked, and that's why it's time to start writing new curriculum and creating new systems and creating new. Once the values shift, like if a generation, this is the trump card. Like, this is my way. This is my checkmate, kind of to the medical mafia, right? So if a generation of kids have this knowledge and they know this, then by the time they get into medical school, they're going to be like, okay, no, like, we know how to address this a different way.
And those kids that read your books that don't necessarily grow up to be doctors, they know the right questions to ask, and they're not afraid to challenge doctors. Because here's another kind of let's sprinkle some fairy dust into this conversation, is the pharmaceutical influence over the medical system. It's
right. That's the medical mafia.
I love that term, by the way.
Yeah.
The medical mafia includes not just the pharmaceutical companies, but big food as well. All these like highly palatable foods, which I know you rail on sugar in a few of your books as well. And so they all play a complicit role. And then they're like a rotating door with government kind of health institutes as well. Don't get me started on dietary guidelines for Americans. It's
a riot, man. It's a riot. But they're running a scam based off of our ignorance. We just don't know better. And so people are, okay, yeah, we'll follow the non-fat trendy diet, and then we'll follow this, and they're all just basically sugar free and this and that, and they understand what that concept actually means. We don't. As the consumer, we think that they're looking out for our best interest. Oh, it's sugar free. Oh, it's diet. It's this and that. But I think they're parasites, man. They're like getting our money, and
Yes. The biggest revelation happened when I read an interview from the guy that is the CEO of McDonald's. And somebody asked him in an interview, it's just kind of a throwaway question, do you let your kids eat at McDonald's? He went, hell no.
Ooh, he said, hell no?
McDonald's.
Yikes.
Yeah.
He said, hell no?
Hell no.
You see how arrogant that is?
Yes.
that's a slap in the face, man. That's so arrogant to say that. Like, the audacity to say hell no, like, on an interview. That's yikes, man. That's scary. Like, the level of hypocrisy, man. And
And
and,
as
and the same thing with these apps, like social, the YouTube and Instagram, Facebook. Those owners don't let, like, Silicon Valley. I heard in Silicon Valley, they have to sign, just like they sign NDAs, non-disclosure, agreements. They have to sign a non-technological agreement with maids and nannies and stuff that come to the house in Silicon Valley. Like, don't bring your technology around my children, right?
yes.
We want our children growing up with books and other things, because we understand that this technology is wiring their brain, those pathways, those neural pathways that you're talking about, in a way that we don't quite yet understand, so it's criminal, the fact that they're just making money off of us and then parading and say, oh yeah, everything is good, and on the front end of it, but on the back end they're like, hell no. Like, that's crazy.
Well, people would say, well, they're allowed to make money the way they want to make money. And I'm a capitalist at heart. I'm okay with that if you want to make money. But I do think an ethical component does need to come into play, especially when it's talking about kids.
Yeah.
All bets are off when you start talking about kids, because you
Yeah.
start effing with people's kids, they're going to come after you if they learn the truth. And we're kind of seeing that a little bit right now with this little hokey pokey in the arm where the kids should be taking it. And it's like, some parents are going, well, I guess we need to protect the greater society. I'm like, no, push back, because at least ask questions when
that's another criminal thing that's happening right now. The all the data since the very beginning of this pandemic has shown that kids are not affected. That population, that demographic of children, are affected at a 0.02%.
Right.
So the now it has shown to be more harmful than the actual thing, and the has been approved for emergency use only. This hasn't been approved.
So I'm going to ask you to say hokey pokey because they banned me from YouTube.
Got you. Yeah, and I love the hokey pokey. Yeah,
But it makes it funny and people know what you're talking about.
You're right. I saw that the other day. I was laughing. I love it. That
And
pardon me. I usually say the V word, but
yes. But they actually get that one too. So you can't say that one. You
really
can't say JAB. You have to use, like, I know, dude, I play the game well, so I have to be real careful. I meant to warn you ahead of time if we talk about this.
Okay. Yeah, the hokey pokey.
Instead of the what it is, I say the Black Plague.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, very smart. Very smart. Very smart. A lot of this, all of the, the mask coverings and all of that, like, it started with the Black Plague, like the whole premise of the three thieves. I don't know if you know that story where they added vinegar and, vinegar, garlic, and there's like a recipe. So there's these three thieves. I don't know if they're four thieves or whatever. But during the Black Plague, they went in, they covered their face with these masks, dipped in apple cider vinegar, garlic, and I forget what the other one was, the other ingredients, so they say. And they went in and they stole all the belongings of like rich folks that were dying of the plague in France and through Europe, and they got like insanely rich. And that's how this story of the mask is going to help you, like, but it was a mask like that actually had other antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral components to it, so it's not just the mask that we're wearing now, but that's where as far as I know, that's the first incident of people wearing masks, and that's it showed the protection against a virus.
Hey, maybe if we dipped ours in ACV and maybe a little cumin, just all kind of little things that would be anti-inflammatory and
It'll do something else. Yeah, man.
It's dripping down your cheek.
Yeah. But it shows, once again, a natural, something, natural immunity, garlic, and, natural virus killers, antifungal, antibacterial, like these things clean. Vinegar is a natural cleaner. Hydrogen peroxide, another, these things. most of the cleaners like that they're using that are approved are just hydrogen peroxide. You know,